on Monday. What we're instructing them is to really vote first hour tomorrow, first hour on Monday, so that they have already exercised the right to vote, and then to encourage the youth, the new generation, the new voters to vote. So that's the direction that we're taking now, is to really gather all our supporters in order to make sure that they have to know their precinct numbers, their polling places, and all that, so that they're ready when they vote on Monday.
All right. Could you tell us more a little bit about the BH party list? You're known for producing legislation to uplift Filipinos' lives and providing social services to families. What would your priority legislation be if given another chance to serve in Congress?
Well, my priority legislation is hopefully the government can also help every time our people are hospitalized. During the pandemic, all public hospitals were full. So the constituents end up going to private hospitals. And that's the one direction that I want to focus on, in order that government can also help even in private hospitals. We've been doing this through an administrative order of DOH, but I want to make it into a law. At the same time, penalize government for having delayed payments to private hospitals, because it's very important. Private hospitals are already crying for help because PhilHealth has not been paying them. And I feel that we should encourage private hospitals to help our constituents, especially in times of need. And so yan yung isang focus that I want to look into, and more scholarships for college education. We have seen the effect of the free tuition fee in state colleges and state universities. 1.6 million of senior high school graduates are already in college. And that shows us that a lot of youth want to study. So we have to encourage more of that, and give more opportunities for private colleges and private university scholarships. That's very important. And one of the bills that we weren't able to pass during the last Congress was the aid for Filipino families, because normally our assistance goes to household, and a lot of families were not able to receive these subsidies or help from government. But I would like to focus more on sustainable programs. Ayoko na po ng mga ayuda na pang isang araw lamang. It has to last for a lifetime. You have to teach them how to fish. But in Bagong Henerasyon, we always say we revolutionize the fishing industry. So you find ways on how they could create livelihood opportunities for themselves. And those are the things that I would like to focus on. And of course, the Water Regulatory Commission and Department of Water are two pending bills of mine that I would like to refile when I go back to Congress.
Now, Congressman, as you've been saying, you focus on other sectors, that of women, youth, as well as micro, small, and medium enterprises. Perhaps you could tell us a little bit about the main challenges in these sectors right now. What are they facing, and how do you plan to address them?
Well, one of the things that's facing us is the review of the wage board. If you recall, a lot of workers are clamoring for increase in the minimum wage. But of course, it's going to be a balancing act on how you could maintain the businesses, the small businesses, to maintain their businesses if we adjust the minimum wage. So ito yung very critical in this coming legislation, as to how we could manage to keep our small and medium enterprises afloat while helping our workers cope with increase in prices of fuel, of course, the implication of that is increase in prices of several commodities. So we have to find that perfect balance as to how we could encourage small and medium enterprises to reopen up, and to help our small and medium enterprises.
All right, lastly, Congresswoman, any other programs that you will be pushing if you return to Congress?
Well, like I mentioned, I would like to really push for private sector support in terms of private hospitals, on how we could help our constituents for that one. And at the same time, I would like to really focus on the Department of Water and the Water Regulatory Commission. That's something that's hanging already for the past Congresses, and I'd like to make sure that it would be passed in Congress, this 19th Congress.
All right, thank you so much for your time this morning, ma'am. That was Deputy Speaker Bernadette Herrera of Thank you for watching today here on CNN Philippines. 4 days to go before the Filipino votes. This morning, we speak to two party-list groups seeking congressional seats. First up, the Pilipinas para sa Pinoy, or PPP party list. And joining us live via Zoom is the group's first nominee, Mike Lanas. Mike, good morning. Thank you for joining us here on New Day. Tell us a little bit about how it's going in the last stretch of the campaign period for PPP party list.
Hi, good morning, Leah, and to all the viewers of New Day. Good morning. This is PPP, Pilipinas para sa Pinoy, number 75 sa inyong mga balota. It's been tough, especially if you are lacking in resources. You have to remember, Leah, that PPP party list is one of those few, or if not the only party list that is not controlled by any politician, national or local, no? And that's why we really lack resources and nahihirapan kami. But I really trust naman the voters na it's about time that we promote the Filipino First policy. That's what PPP is all about. Na long forgotten na yan, no, Ria? Panahon pa ni Carlos P. Garcia nung huling natangkilik natin ang Filipino First policy, or unahin ng Pilipino at siya, no? And tayo here, we encourage that we support every Filipino in all their endeavors, no? Kahit anong sektor kagaling, ay kailangan ka magsuportahan, mabigyan ng sapat or karampatang programa para sa kanilang livelihood, kabuhayan, at kung ano pa man. At the same time, we want to empower all their skills, no? Lack of training kasi, kaya minsan nahihirapan din ang ating mga labor force. And at the same time, there must be technology transfer. And lastly, which is the most important, is we need to protect the rights of every Filipino.
All right, and when you say protect the rights of every Filipino, you're not just speaking about people within the workforce, like factory workers, or people in agriculture, like farmers. You're speaking also about basic human rights. Do I understand you right?
Yes, basic human rights, the national patrimony, sovereignty, and of course, the Filipino itself, no? Kaya nga kami, I always encourage everyone, no? Everyone I speak to, I always tell them, focus on three things: love of God, of country, and of the Filipino. And with those three things, I don't think maliligaw pa tayo and in supporting this country and making this country a better place.
All right, so Mike, tell us, if elected, what priority legislation would you be pushing, or what exactly would your programs look like?
Okay, Ria, you mentioned earlier about agriculture and our food production industry, no? When I was councilor of Quezon City before, I was the one who initiated the comprehensive land use plan, no? Which is now, in fact, being used and passed in Congress to become the National Land Use Plan. But this time, when I enter Congress once elected, we will focus on the comprehensive land use plan for agriculture, meaning all the crops na ang Pilipinas kasi is composed of so many islands, 7,000 plus, and different soil ang mga ano nito, and iba-iba ang livelihood, no? May mga dagat na madaling mangisda, merong mga lupang madaling tamnan ng ganitong crop, no? So we must have, together with Department of Agriculture and all our food scientists, no, food production scientists, we must come up with a comprehensive land use plan for agriculture so that ma-maximize natin lahat ng production natin all over the country from different crops.
All right, and what other programs will you also be pushing for, Mike, if elected to Congress?
There are other programs, no, like yung health natin, scholarships natin, you know, the typical necessary, ano. But what's more important is enhancement, no? Enhancement of our labor force, no? Whether you're an online worker or a fisherman, as you have mentioned, dapat lahat mabigyan ng tools, no? Ang mga fishermen dapat mabigyan ng mga cold storage facility, ang mga farmers natin dapat mabigyan ng mga post-harvest facility, and so on and so forth. We need to enhance their skills. We need to retrain our labor force so that they become competitive here and abroad.
All right, thank you so much for your time this morning. That was PPP